So welcome to the start of the 2043 season. Thank you for the support on the series. It's continuing to really surpass any expectations I had for views this far into a series. And the comments, the amount of people commenting is just insane. So please make sure we keep that up. It's just nice to interact with everybody. We've made 2 signings in the striker position. I am struggling defensive mid to add to the squad, but we'll maybe see if we can find something throughout the season. So going into the year 2043, we have 763k on social media now, a little bit more than my YouTube channel. 7k hardcore, 27% of core, 26% of family, 13 fair weather, 27% casual, still no corporate, which I find very strange. In terms of awards then, Zoenga has came in the right back position in the FIFA Pro Under 19 Best 11, which is a shock because he's not been a world beater for us, to be honest with you. 2 players have been named in the Under 20s substitutes. Inderberg, who you'll see, and also Park Song So, who you'll also see. Here we go. In terms of Finnish players then, our right winger who's gone on loan to Vikingur this year is in the top 3 there. Hopefully he can have a good season for them and continue to improve. Danish team of the year, we have 2 players. We have Meng and Mishan. Almost expected. Both of them deserve to be in like teams of the year, etc. And Danish award winners, Danish Young Player of the Year is Mikkelsen, and Danish Players Young Player of the Year is our goalkeeper Munksgaard, who is now back as a AB player after being on loan. He is now signed back, which is very nice. Still undeclared about playing for the national team, but you know, we can't expect everything. So our Champions League campaign in the group stage ended with a 4-2 defeat. Now that did see us qualify still in 18th place. Won 3, drew 2, lost 3. 11 points saw us through into the knockout rounds where we would face Marseille. And in the first leg we got a 1-0 victory, and you can see Little Scara on the score sheet. That's a spoiler for one of the players who has come back. We then went to France. We lost the game 2-1 in extra time with a 120-minute goal. Saw it go to penalties where we managed to get the win. So we beat Marseille going through on penalties into the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Now, we came up against Man United in the last 16, and unfortunately at home, we were completely dominated and we lost the game 3-0. We then travelled Old Trafford. The game was already done at that point. We managed to get a 0-0 draw away from home, which is fantastic, but unfortunately the game was gone, game was done, and we were out in the final 16 of the Champions League. So moving on to the transfers, you did get the spoiler that Robin Lidlskara has come back to AB, his 3rd time at the club now. So we paid 2.6 million for him, sold him for 10.5, 50% next sale, paid 1.9 to bring him back, which ended up costing us just under $1 million because of the 50% the next sale. He then went to Peterborough for 7 million plus 50% the next sale, and we've signed him back now after a poor season in the Championship for 8.25 million, which obviously only cost us 4 million due to a 50% next sale. So bringing Little Scara back for 4 million on a long contract which will take him up to the age of 31, I'm absolutely delighted because we know he's just a proper goal scorer. So welcome back to the club. Robin Little Scara has joined us again. So let's work through all of our ins first, shall we? So Exi comes in as a potential hot prospect in the striker position. He's going to play for our youth team, potential for our B team. We'll see how he does, but he looks a decent player. 500,000. I think it's worth spending the money. We then bring in this Russian central midfielder who looks very talented. Honestly, I think could develop into a top player. 19 years old. 18 passing, 13 first touch, good decisions, good aggression, which is nice, couldn't get stuck in. Really pleased with him. 1.2 million, I think it's money well spent. After that, we spent 3 million on Michael Madsen, a central defender who's going to play for our B team. He does have a lot of potential, really good mentals and physicals. Technically not the best defender, but I do think he can improve. 3 million on him. We splashed big, 8 million on Teneber. And I think he is a very talented winger. Mentally not the best, work rate, teamwork only 10. But he's very, very talented. And honestly, I think he could be a top winger. Only 18 years old, 8 million, straight in as a first choice winger. Now, one of the players coming back to the club then in striker is Bjorn Hogg. He's joined us from Porto B, 1.2 million. Obviously, we had a 50% next sale, so only cost us 600k. I think he's just very talented. 24 years old, comes in as a fringe player. I mean, on that type of contract, we had to bring him back. He guarantees goals, so he's come back. This is the player who I spoke about in the last episode who I think could push Mishan. 21 years old from Paraguay, Edgar Gonzalez. He cost us 350k. And physically not a world beater, but technically insane. He is insane technically. Really, really pleased with him. I think we've got a very, very good player here. Excited to see what he can do as the season progresses and he settles in. Now coming in for £5,000. A 17-year-old Spanish central defender. Again, physically not the best, but mentally as a no-nonsense defender, insane. Technically not bad as well. If he doesn't develop into a player we hope, we'll be able to sell him for profit. Costing us 5k. Easy. Easy. The next one coming in is one of our new first choice central defender. I signed a new first choice central defender. Sebastian Pettersson. 20 years old from Sweden. Cost us 3.8 million. I think he's very, very talented. Honestly, I think he could help us get to that next level. I do think he will develop over the next year or two really, really much. Is really much a word? I think it is. And then we brought in Little Scara, who I just think was a must. Really pleased with that. And finally, a player I've been actually trying to bring in since he was 16 years old, Frederick Nylander. He's a right back, can play on the wing as well. I think he's just a very talented player. He can also maybe start getting trained as a left back as well, because he is fairly strong on the left foot, very strong on the right foot. I'm happy with this signing, 1.1 million. I think it's a solid signing who will offer a lot of depth in our squad. Now, a couple of players who've gone out. We signed Pedersen as a new central defender because Pablo Perez, that's not the correct Perez. Where's our defender who we sold? That was it. Henry Pereira, if you remember, we sold to Porto last season. We were just lacking in that central defence after he left. So signing him, I think, was a good signing. But we did sell Pablo Perez, our young Swedish goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper. He's gone for 1.5 million plus 50% of next sale to Marseille. When they came in, he wanted to go. And when you get 50% next sale, there's a chance we could get another 10 million for him in a few years' time. So I think it was just a deal we had to do. Unfortunately, this is a deal I think I might end up regretting. Omar Al-Fittori has left the club. He's gone to Cannes. We paid £3,000 for him. And he just became such a solid player. We ended up selling him for 4.7 million, which is great profit. But I just think we might regret selling him. Christensen has gone on loan to a club within the league. Mihelsen has gone on loan again. The young Latvian we signed. Still developing. Go and get some good football if he can get good there. Olsen's gone on loan as well. So this is Park Sung-soo has left us. We actually made a loss on him. Paid 3 million. Ended up selling him for 2.4. In 10 games in the league, he got 3 goals and 1 assist. And he was just as bad in Europe. He just never settled. So we've let him go. He's gone back. He's gone actually to Mexico, to Pumas. So yeah, let him go. Gadbo, one of our young attacking mids, has gone on loan to Faroe. And then the final sale, this is a shocking sale, by the way. So Inderberg, our top goal scorer for last season, has gone for 3 million to Brighton. Plus 50% of next sale, but the fact we couldn't get any more money than that 3 million is so upsetting. Like, it's just upsetting that we just couldn't get more. Clubs just weren't offering anything for him. So it's really upsetting. We got 11.25 million and we signed players for 27 million. So we have spent big this summer. And we got 16 million just for getting to the last 16 in the Champions League. Never mind all the TV money and stuff at the end of the season. So 120 million still in the bank. So we do have 20 million. I am desperately looking for a defensive midfielder. So our team going into this season is our goalkeeper, Munksgaard, back at the club. Really, really pleased to have him back. Right back is Linnerud, still first choice, still really, really solid for us. Alongside Pettersson and Michael Meng, who now is at the age of 25, has been with us for 7 seasons. Still can't play for the national team, still waiting for the paperwork. And then Hansen at left back, who is now 27 years old, been with us since the age of 17. Going into this season then, Ingolfsson is going to be our first choice defensive mid. He's not a bad defensive mid, so there is a chance he cements that spot. But I'm still just unsure at the minute. Going into the last game, we have moved Mishan in the central midfield because I was lacking. Sterler picked up an injury. Now, he can play there really well. Mentally, he's fantastic. So moving Mishan in centre midfield due to that Sterler injury in the last game isn't a bad option. Sterler's looking insane, by the way. The only issue is contracts run out again next season. Refuses to sign a new deal. We might end up having to cash in on him. But if we do, Mishan could be the long-term centre mid. Gonzalez then gets to play in that attacking mid. On the left is Midskogen, who is in his 9th season with us now, 27 years old. I just really like him. He's so solid. And the new signing Tenneber on the right wing. And then Bjorn Haag played up top in the last game due to an injury to Little Skara. But now I honestly think this might be the first season in a while where we've got 2 very good strikers. Bjorn Haag and Little Skara both can push each other all season long. On the bench-wise, we have a good bench. We have Mortensen, who's now, I think he's 32. Our goalkeeper here, obviously signed from Vesta in 2027 for 5k, has been around for quite a while, went to Cardiff, obviously came back. You've got Rasmus Schmidt, you've got the young Russian, you've got Madrigal now, who is 21 and is one of the options in defensive mid, and again someone who could maybe cement that place this season. There is the opportunity there for somebody. You've got Sterler, who is still one of the best. Sundstrom, who's been with us now so this is 8th season with us at the age of 26. He's just a good squad player. Little Skara, Guttersson's come back after a loan to HJK. Obviously academy player, 29 years old now. Thomas Scher, the young Danish guy, is going to be in around the first team. Zoenga, our young Icelandic right back. 8 caps for Iceland now, 19 years old. Should get some more football this season. Nylander we've looked at. You've got Lervang, who is now a Faroe Islands player, so he's going to be capped by the national team this year. Is another option in defensive mid-stroke central mid. Not a bad player. Patrick Christensen, again another option in centre mid. We overpaid for him a few years ago now. He's been with us 5 years. We paid 5 million for him. He's very much a squad player. He's not good enough for the first team at the minute. You've got Rigsetter, who again hasn't really broke in to become a first team regular. We paid 3 million for him 5 years ago as well for him now, 22 years old. But he's a decent squad player and he does do a job when we need him. And Martin Jonsson, 18 years old now, came through the academy. 11 league goals in 20 games in the league, so he's not done bad for us for the first team. He is registered as available for the B team this season. So in terms of the season preview, we are 1-5 odds on to win the league. KI is second there. They've got a decent squad, but still lacking, I think. They're still lacking. Strikers are Stefansson, who finished top goal scorer last year. He's got 241 goals in 244 games for KI, so he's not doing bad. Alongside Pedersen, who again isn't a bad player to be honest with you, 23 years old, is available to play for the national team this year, so he might sneak in there and get some football. Horsdal on the right wing wouldn't even get close to our squad. Halskov in the middle isn't a bad central midfielder alongside Rissell, who again isn't too bad, so they are adding some decent players. Then Alberg on the left wing is fairly shocking, to be honest. They could buy one of my youngsters and do a better job than that. Our former academy player, Johnson, is their right back. In central defence, they have on loan from us, they have Okarin, and then alongside him is Christensen, who is a very decent central defender, and Owusu on the left back position. Then their goalkeeper is absolutely nobody. Is that a real player? It is a real player. Rasmus Andersen from Midtjylland is their goalkeeper this season. Now, we have started the league campaign during we won and played the Man United game, and a player I want to keep an eye on is Aja, who's a TB. He came through our academy, and on the opening day, he came off the bench and bagged a hat-trick. So I'm interested to see how he does this season, see if he can pick up a few goals. In terms of our squads, we are very stacked. Our B team is looking very, very strong, to be honest with you. If you go on the potential side, we've got a few 5-star potential players here. You've got this young Belarusian who we signed, who's a winger stroke attacking mid. Very talented, is going to get some football in the B team this year. And then you've got Diego, the young Brazilian we picked up as well, who is still developing and still hopefully will become a good player. Zwenga's getting some football in the B team. We've looked at them. We've pretty much looked at most of the people in this B team. Axel Abdi, I do still hope can develop. 1.4 million we obviously paid for him last season. 18 years old now. Hopefully a year in the B team can help him develop. And then we go to the under 18s. And again, we've got just quality. So you've got the Spanish stroke Basque central defender we picked up for 5k. We've got this Czech central defender who's on loan at TB for another season here. I do hope he can develop. We've got this guy who we obviously paid $2.5 million for last season. Is going to have another year in our B team. In our under 18s, who again, I think is a very good defender. So we've got a lot of depth and they're in some good positions within our youth team. So I think if we do lose a couple of players this year, we might be just looking at promoting now. And if we signing people, we only signing people for our B teams or under 18s. I think I would like to give 6 months to our 2 defensive midfielders, Magradal and also Ingolson. See how they do in defensive mid before I consider splashing the cash on a new defensive midfielder. So looking at the national team going into the new season, we do have a few proper young players within here at the minute. If I go on to the age side of things, then we've got on loan investor from us. We've got Randy Alberg is in the national team now. Defensive midfielder, very talented. When you look at the central midfielders available, stroke defensive midfielders, there's not many. So he definitely is going to get some football for the national team. Valder Danielson has been in for the last few months. I hoped he might develop. He's at Sunyiska, and I didn't know how he was going to develop. He's developing quite poorly, to be honest. He might end up getting kicked out this year. And then you have Millenstind, who we've obviously already looked at, paid big money to bring him to our youth team. You've got Martin Jonsson, who's from our club as well. You've got Jonsson from KI, who I think is a very decent central midfielder and will get some football for the national team. Lervig, who is one of our young goalkeepers at AB, is in the national team now. Kovac, who is in our B team, is the right back for the national team now. Right back wise, the national team is there's just nobody. Like, this is literally one of the only right backs available who can kick a ball. Some of them are shocking. Like, maybe he might end up being our right back, but he can't pass a ball. But defensively could be very solid. But the issue is, I need him in central defence alongside Gutterson. But you can see, look at the amount of the amount of AB players. Our whole back line and defenseman and centre mid are all AB. Attacking mid is AB. And then you've got right winger has played for us. Left wing came through our academy. Strikers AB. So we really are struggling more than anything at the minute to actually find players from any other clubs who are even good enough to get in our squad. So our team going into this 2043 season then. Mortensen in goal, 32 years old now, goalkeeper, over 100 caps, hasn't he? It's 104? Yeah, 104 caps. Kovac a right back, who isn't the best. Millenstad central defence, 17 years old, is a very good prospect, alongside Gutterson in central defence, and then Hansen at left back. We're going with Schmidt from us in defensive mid, who is very, very talented, alongside Lervang, who is going to get his first cap in central midfield. Winthereg, On the right wing, who is now at Örebro. On the left wing, you've got Paulson, who is now at EB. In attacking mid, you've got Holgard, who is a very talented attacking mid, by the way. And then Jonsson up top, who has 6 goals in 17 now for the national team. But there's not really much more to update you on. Fixtures for this year, we do have a lot. We've got Albania at home, Liechtenstein away, Greece away, Belgium at home, Albania away and Scotland away, then Liechtenstein home, Greece home, Scotland home, ending with Belgium away for our European Championship qualifying group, which it's a hard group, but there's also winnable games. Albania, I think we can get someone at home. Greece maybe at home. Liechtenstein home and away, I'd like to get something. So, you never know. We might be able to get 4th. I'm expecting 5th in this group. I just want to see progression. I want to see some of my players starting to step up and us just looking that little bit better. Now, the final thing I want to point out is my assistant manager, who's been with me since 2023. He joined the club. It doesn't. I wish the staff profile was better on FM. 2023 he joined the club, so this is going to be his 20th season with us. He's retiring at the end of the year, age 65. So going into the 2044 season, I will have a new assistant manager. And I'm going to try to bring in a former manager of some sort. Now, I did put out on the Facebook page I'm one of the admins on. If I show you my staff, I did put on there that we signed a scout who I found very interesting to bring in as a scout. If I scroll down, a Danish scout who is Thomas Frank. Now, maybe Thomas Frank could step up and be our assistant manager next season. I'm not sure if he'd be willing to do it, but it's worth an ask. But he is 69 now, so there's a chance he might actually be retiring too. But yeah, so our assistant manager's leaving us, unfortunately. We do have Thomas Frank as a scout at the minute. He's been with us since 2040. Maybe we can convince him to step up as an assistant manager. I'm not sure. We'll see how we can do. But yeah, that's it for the update for the season about to start. So we got to the last 16 of the Champions League. We've added some good signings to the squad. We're closing in on 1,000 games. And I've been Paul, also known as the Northman. I'll see you next time.